The Misc Prospector is a one-seat mining ship that you can buy in-game for a little over $2 million and rent for 24 hours from Loreville for about $40K. I'm going to show you this cool thing in the back here first. I believe that one day this will allow you to dump resources and sort them out. That's just what I've been told. That is alleged. But right now, I just think it looks cool, so I wanted to start there. Get it out of the way. Now, the ship has virtually no combat abilities, but that's not really an issue because your runs will probably be short enough that you're not going to be running into anyone anyway. The interior is clearly designed for a one-man operation with one bed, one toilet, and just a little tiny little living area. No turret, no support station, nothing. Just one lonely miner heading out into the world. I recommend mining on Daymar or Yella and then flying to Port Olisar. That way you can get a lot of fast mining trips in pretty quickly. When you're flying, after you take your landing gear up, don't forget to also hit J, so that way your thrusters go into the correct mode. It's a pretty good looking ship. The bags on the side, they change size as you go throughout the mining process, which I think is cool, although it feels counterintuitive to the you'll notice it seems counterintuitive to the way that they should actually be going because they start full and then get smaller. The cockpit glass is gorgeous. I'm a big fan of the one large piece with no struts. It also has a practical usage, which we'll see in a moment. So you're going to want to QT to any of the waypoints on the surface and then immediately begin flying downward. It doesn't really matter which direction you go in, but you're going to hit tab. After you pick a direction, use your scanner, and boom. Now, it's going to take you some time to stop usually. I'm going to hit J. I'm going to hit J. I'm going to show you that. I switched my engines back to the vertical position. And now, as we're close to the ore, if you don't know, when you hit tab, the longer you hold right click, the longer it charges. So as you get close to an ore, you can spam really short ones to clarify location. When you get close to your desired rock, you hit M to scan it, and you get a big fat readout here. The top right is the most important part, really, when you first scan it. It tells you the total mass of the rock and then the percentage of each of the different elements. The elements are in value order first. Now, I will post a link to a very helpful guide which will show you the table which has the values of each of the elements. But just so you know, gold isn't that fancy. Beryl and quartz are both basically trash, and you only want to pick them up as byproduct. But during this process, we're going to break this larger rock when it has the orange outline around it. That's how you know it needs to be broken or fractured more before it can be collected. So maybe we can fracture it into pieces that are more favorable and have more gold in them. So we're going to left click and then mouse wheel up, just like when we FPS mine. And we're going to try and get our rock energy level higher. Depending on the type of rock, you see at the top it says quartzite, and the composition of the rock, it'll be easier or harder to actually mine it based on what kind of mining head you have. Now, I am using the stock mining head, which is the only one that you can use if you rent the Prospector, which again, you can do from Loreville. It's about $40K a day. And by a day, I mean a literal 24-hour clock. If you own the Prospector, you can put on much better mining heads, which increase the energy transfer, decrease the explosion chance, and make it easier to mine, etc., etc. I highly recommend doing this, and you can buy those mining heads from the Dumpers Depot stores. I believe there's one in Lorville and in Levski. But they make the whole process a lot simpler. So once you hit the green, much like on FPS mining, I'm going to have the mouse wheel down soon, but the fracturing sensor needs to get to 100. We don't want the overcharge sensor to be at anything at all, which is what happens if this thing gets to the red, because then the rock will explode. You can blow up doing this. It's actually not even that hard. So just be careful. But once you break the rock into smaller pieces, if they still have an orange outline, that means they need to be fractured again. If they have a purple outline, they can be extracted immediately. So now, this rock here is made up of mostly stuff that does not sell for much, but these two things make up the full composition of the mass. So I'm going to show you the extraction, because it's not a loss. It's just not a big profit either. So you right click to switch to extraction mode, and then all you have to do is left click, and then unlike the very tilting carry stow process of SPS mining, you just magically absorb all of the rock into your bags. Now, what you're really looking for is whatever has the highest composition of gold, because that was the most expensive, most valuable resource in this rock when we first approached it. So that will be this one. So we're going to right click to go back to fracture mode, and we're going to break this one again. These smaller pieces do not take as much energy to break as the original big rock. So don't just pedal the metal, otherwise you will find yourself running the risk of blowing up the rock, shooting it at yourself, and then flying backwards, which is not a way to live. Trust me, it's very dangerous. Now, if you're really picky about what resources you pick up, your runs will take longer, but they will be very profitable. If you're not picky at all, you can fill up in mere moments. Like I've had runs that are under 20 minutes. When it says inert materials, that's dirt. You don't want dirt. Dirt's worth nothing. So one of these definitely has gold in it somewhere. See, that's gold, 91%. So not only is this gold 91%, but the rest of it is this barrel stuff, which means there's almost no dirt in it. So you right click to go back to extraction mode, and then you left click on the rock. So that's it. When your cargo gets to full, you're just going to fly on over to Port Olisar, which I'll show you in a second. Hit M to close the mining tool. You can fly up. Hit J to make your engines go the way they're supposed to. You leave Atmo, and you're going to sell your haul. The Prospector is one of the most sought after early game ships because it changes the speed and potential monetary value of your grind. Personally, I think that planet surface mining in the Prospector is way more fun than first-person mining in caves or on the surface, and it does not take a long time to grind the money to rent a Prospector. So to sell your minerals, you need to go. I'm only going to show you at Port Olisar, but all of the major cities and ports have them usually in their admin area, and you go to the refinery. You select the location, the Prospector, and you can sell all of the materials to the refinery. Now, I would like to point out, I do not have a full cargo, so this is not a representation of how much you can make on a single run. But it is important that as you're going to the refinery, you can see, okay, so I picked up 70% quartz as a byproduct from those rocks, and that 70% quartz is worth almost nothing. The barrel is worth almost nothing, and the gold is worth less than you might think. So it's not a great run, but I have no dirt. And dirt is a waste, which means everything I have is at least giving me some profit. You just click sell to refinery, and boom, you're done. The more you do this process, the more you'll have like an innate understanding of how much each material is worth. And you'll get a better understanding of which quantities you're willing to pick up versus not. The table that I'm going to share with you has suggested quantities to pick up based on percentages in the rock, but you will get a more personal understanding of it, and also you might find that you can fudge those numbers in different ways based on how quickly or how slowly you want to make your runs. Again, you can make a run that's a whole hour long and just try to get maximum profit, but you can also make a lot of really fast runs and only make 15 to 25k each time. The Prospector is an excellent ship. It's not hard to fly, but it is a boat that does have a learning curve. I would recommend purchasing it in game because farming 2 mil to get it isn't that hard. Also, renting it, I recommend definitely renting it first and trying it out. If you love it and you want to start every single character reset or account wipe, or when the game launches and everybody goes back to 0 and you're like, I want to skip the grind for my Prospector, then maybe I would invest in it with your human dollars. But either way, it's a great ship. It doesn't offer any chance for team play, but it is a lot of fun to play. So if you just want to solo grinding, make that paper, the Prospector is for you.